We want to have a chat as well with you about what you see in the media today, being someone who's just gone through this kind of restructuring. I think Altea, our viewers and listeners sometimes ask the questions better than we can. Why the fuck is this happening to all our news shows? You know, it's kind of the gist of what we're saying. What are you seeing at the moment? You've just come from the inside. What's happening at the moment that we're not seeing on the outside?
I think it's just a lot of change, and potentially as well, we can all kind of see that media is changing. And we saw with the closure of News Hub as well, that I guess people are essentially turning more to digital platforms, and that whole idea of like less people watching the 6 o'clock news in the traditional way we used to. And so I think at the moment, from the inside, from my perspective at least, I think that we can see a lot of change happening, and people at the top are seeing that and going, how do we re-navigate what we're doing to try and fit where our audiences are going and things. And I think possibly, like, for lack of a better word, it may be like a bit of a time of confusion as well, and not really sure like how to best curate video news or news in general to, you know, meet particularly the younger audience coming through in the way that they consume news. So I think it's just a bit of a time where things are shifting a lot. And it might be a little while before we kind of see that land where I guess people can figure out what works. Because I think as well, it's a matter of let's just try a bunch of things and see what sticks and see what works. And that's maybe why we're seeing so much change and so many new things and different things happening, just trying to figure out like what's actually working in this new environment.
Yeah. Cheree, mate, jump in.
Yeah, I think what you're describing there is, I guess what we see is a couple of media titans just basically flailing around and wondering what's changed. Oh shit, who's moved the chairs around? We don't know how any of this works. There's still, you know, when you look on it, it still seems like there's a bunch of money in it. And then everybody's crying poor, and we're losing too many important things. Like the depth of news, the competitiveness of multiple reporters trying to chase a worthy story, and that just seems to have evaporated to what it was even 6 months, a year ago. Where do you see things stabilizing? What are we going to be left with?
I mean, it's a great question, and it's a hard question to answer because I think we are still in that time of things feel very shifty and moving, and it seems like every week you hear of another restructure happening at another company, or you know, I think job security in general for a lot of people in this industry isn't really high at the moment, because it does feel like you don't really know what's coming around the corner. But like, I'd like to be optimistic in the sense that it has been a really strange and challenging year for media, I would say, but I'd hope that things do sort of into next year settle down, and hopefully you know, companies can figure out what they want to really focus on and go hard on, because I think it's unfair as well from like an audience perspective to have these things changing a lot. And you mentioned you're losing a lot of shows or a lot of things that people start to watch and engage in. And you know, I got so many messages as well from viewers after we did the final bulletin too, and some people, you know, just like really upset and sad that that becomes such a sort of, you know, part of their morning routine to watch the headlines. And I get that, you know, and a lot of things like that with news, you kind of stick to one show or someone that you like to watch or listen to. And when that just goes kind of quite quickly for an audience, it's like, it's there one day and then all of a sudden it's not. It's really disruptive.
I don't think those of us who have worked in the industry even get how important it is to people listening or watching until something happens. I'll tell you a silly story. I used to work at More FM in Auckland under Kim Adams and Jeremy Corbett, Paul Ego. And Paul Ego and Jeremy Corbett used to do a sequel called Bob Bond. James Bond, but he's a New Zealand farmer. And it would play every day at the right time, and, you know, the same times. And one day it played, like, let's say it's 6:45, and one day it played at like, you know, 6:50, or it was just off by 10 minutes. Someone phoned the office, a woman both screaming and in tears, saying, how the hell is she going to know if she's late for work? Because Bob Bond always plays when she goes past this exit of the motorway.
Wow.
So like, it was her clock to get her to work on time, and now she didn't know whether she had to phone the boss or not. So she was really you know, locked
Yeah.
in with that.